Hey everyone, this is Dr. Drizzle, and welcome to the National Parks Adventure, Crossing America. So today we're in San Juan, Puerto Rico at the San Juan National Historic Site and World Heritage Site. Thank you so much to the National Park Foundation for their collaboration on this project. And we are here with Ranger Carlos. Ranger Carlos, thank you so much for having us here at your place.
Thank you very much for being here today with us.
Yes, we're so excited to be here. Now, we are located in a very beautiful place that has a story to tell right on the water, thus all the wind that's messing my hair up, but yours looks perfect. But we're just really glad to have you. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Carlos. I'm from Puerto Rico, actually. I have been here in the National Park Service and San Juan National Historic Site for around 24 years already. That's a long time. I studied history and now have been with the park as a park ranger in interpretation, leading tours and educational programs for the kids.
Now, have you visited any other parks and worked there?
Yeah, well, I have been having the great opportunity to visit some parks, mostly for trainings. I have been in Grand Canyon National Park. I have been in Biscayne National Park in Florida. I have been to the regional office in Atlanta, in Georgia. I was during a week in the National Mall in Washington, D.C. So yes, I have had the chance to go into another parks and enjoy other locations.
Well, tell us why this place is special.
This place is very special because these go back to the time of exploration of the European, back from the early 1500s. So when the first European settlers, the Spaniards, came to the Americas, they settled first in the Caribbean area, and San Juan was the very first Spanish port or European port they could reach when crossing the Atlantic Ocean. The trip from Europe took a long time. So actually we're right in front of the entrance to the Bay of San Juan. So those fleets came all the way crossing the Atlantic Ocean, heading into the port of San Juan after 2 months of navigation.
That's a long time on a ship. I watch these cruise ships come in here, not for 2 months though. I think that's a very long time. So we have around us these large structures. Tell us about what these structures are and why they were built.
Well, these fortifications includes Castillo San Felipe del Morro, Castillo San Cristóbal, a long city wall that used to enclose the entire city, well built to protect the port of San Juan, the city of San Juan, back then by the Spaniards to protect them against English, French, Dutch, and pirates' attack. Again, this was the very first Spanish port in the Americas, and in order to control the Spanish colonies back then, they needed to protect San Juan as their first major port. The materials of construction here were sandstone, so they cut the sandstone blocks from the shore of the ocean by hand. They need to transport all those materials. They also use limestone, and they use clay, bricks.
There were some things that happened here that weren't great, right? Because we had people, since we were fighting to protect this place. So did we have medical facilities here, or what happened when people were hurt?
Yeah, that's a great question. As human beings, we're still needing medical assistance for many purposes. But back then, 1600s, 1500s, 1700s, there were a lot of diseases going around. Medicine was not like we know it today. So they had hospitals. They had military hospitals for the soldiers and their relatives. They had civilian hospitals. Religious personnel, like nuns, were the nurses back then. So they had hospitals run by the church mostly, since the Spaniards were Catholic. So they had hospitals and nurseries run by the nuns back then to provide with health care for the people living here.
Well, I know that this place was special to the National Park Service because it became part of the National Park Service.
Mhm.
When did that happen?
Well, here in San Juan, when the Spaniards were defeated during the Spanish-American War of 1898, Puerto Rico became a territory of the United States alongside Philippines, Guam, and partially Cuba. So that's when the U.S. took over Puerto Rico, and San Juan National Historic Site was founded in 1949, shortly after World War II. So the park officially began actually in February 14th, St. Valentine's Day. So that was the foundation date for the park, 1949.
So when you celebrate that anniversary, it's like saying, "We love you, San Juan," right?
Yes, yes, and we it's interesting because we have a lot of people coming here, celebrating St. Valentine's. They are, obviously they're in love, they're enjoying the day. So we make them to feel our love as well, welcoming them and telling them that we're celebrating twice, St. Valentine's plus our anniversary as a park.
That sounds like extra chocolate.
That's right, that's right.
Now, not only is this a national park site, it is also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. When did that happen?
Okay, that was back in 1983 when people from the city of San Juan, especially scholars from the city and people related to the culture of the city, were getting together with the government to promote the fortification system as a World Heritage Site. These structures are very, very old. And aside of being used for the defense of the place, there are cannons, there were soldiers, but the architecture, the engineering, the structure themselves portrayed and reflect the ideas, the beliefs of the times. So back then, when this was in Spanish city, they were also defending their ideas, beliefs. Some of them are different of our ideas and beliefs today. So when we study the history of this place, the mentality, the ideas of the people back then, we get really amazed because how we have been changing through the centuries. Even we as Hispanics, we have changed a lot here in Puerto Rico. So by the way, gracias por estar con nosotros hoy. So for the Spanish speakers here that are watching us. So times changes, and that's a great example of how even Spanish and Hispanic treasures change with times and tell us how that happened. Yeah.
Well, I see a lot of people out here today, but I've actually seen that you guys have a very large visitorship
Yes.
each year. And you talked about earlier that that's from the cruise ships, it's from people that come here to vacation. Yesterday, we went to the other side of the island. We were able and we know that people come from the island here on the weekends. But if they come, what else can they do here at the park?
Well, here at the park, there are several activities to do. During the weekends, for example, we provide tunnel tours. So those are for the Saturdays and Sundays, twice per day. Those are a major attraction for visitors because the tunnels are hidden structures, some kind of mysterious part of the park, so attract people. We also sometimes during the weekends, we provide artistic shows. So we have one this coming weekend. So we have special activities during the weekends. We advertise that in our social media of the park. But aside of that, since most of the people come during the weekends from the rest of the island and in cruise ships, they will have a lot of activities in the city itself, a lot of really, really good restaurants in the city. So the environment and the area itself is really beautiful for people to come, have pictures. It's a very attractive area. The scenery is really amazing. So it will have everything that people from the island and from outside of the island would like to find in a place.
Well, with wind like this, I can imagine kite flying is very special here. In fact, I think in April, you have a special kite flying day where people fly over in the El Morro section. Have you ever flown a kite here?
Well, yes, actually, I have flown a kite here, especially March, April are the months in which we have these strong winds constant. And yeah, we used to have a festival, kite festival. We are not having that now, but people are coming to enjoy time with their family. Kids from generations to generations have been coming to fly their kites. Well, we try to tell families, be cautious, with the kites itself, the strings. to take care of them. You know, as soon as they finish flying the kites, to take them down and take them, you know, those kites and string with them, because it's a very, very funny activity, very enjoying activity, but also could be a threat for the nature.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we want to tell people, you know, it's part of our mission, come and enjoy the park, have an enjoyment moment with their family, but be conscious of how you can also affect the nature and the environment. So it's part of the activities they can have here in the park. Yeah.
So I love that you brought that up, because, you know, we talk with kids around the country about how they can help out their national park sites and how they can help be a good steward of the parks. And with the water here and with things like hurricanes, tsunamis, I'm assuming that you guys are preparing for those. Talk to us a little bit about the water and how maybe it's risen a little bit over the past year.
Yes. Actually, we have, and that's is obvious when you go to El Morro. El Morro has rocks placed at the base of the fortress there that was settled by the U.S. Corps of Engineers decades ago as a measurement, as a way to try to avoid the heat of the waves straight to the base of the structure. Because going back to the 1910s, 20s, 30s, the structure, and before that, waves used to hit the base of the structure for centuries. So we have pictures showing all engineers by the U.S. Corps of Engineers taking pictures at the bottom of El Morro, and the wave action had created a huge cave at the bottom of El Morro because of the impact of the waves. So we were not talking about the rise of the level of the ocean yet, but by then, the engineers said, you know what, we need to protect this. They put 2 belts of huge rocks at the water in front of El Morro, and that has been helping El Morro for decades. Now, we know that the level of the water has been increasing because we're in a coastal area here, and there's another fort, San Juan de la Cruz, El Cañuelo, that you can see from El Morro across the entrance to the bay, that there's another breakwater there, and according to engineers and experts that have been visiting the park recent, there, since the water goes in that direction constantly, they are fearing that that breakwater would not be enough to protect that area in a years come by, you know, in a near years come by. So yes, we're expecting that to affect the fortification at some point, and it's something to consider, yes.
Well, I've got some kids that can help us with that. So kids, we're going to talk right now about our UN Global Goal Challenge. You've heard Ranger Carlos talk about the water and how it's risen over the years and how it slams into the sides of the fort. Now, they're already working on this with the U.S. Corps of Engineers, but I think they could use your help too. So we're going to look at 2 UN goals today. First of all, global goal number 11, which is sustainable cities and communities, and we're obviously in a community here. And also goal number 13, which is climate action, because we're talking about sea levels rising. We're going to see if you can come up with some ideas to build more structure or more walls that can help protect this place, but also think about family homes that live in places where hurricanes may come through, or even earthquakes, because we have earthquakes here. So once you come up with some designs and you share them with the park, we also want you to share this with your own community, because all the communities in where we live have environmental threats. It could be tornadoes, it could be thunderstorms, it could be earthquakes, it could be just erosion. You could even have water contamination. So how can you as a student come up with ideas to help the national parks preserve this place for another 500 years? So once you come up with these great ideas, we want you to share these on social media. You can tag the San Juan National Historic Site, which you see running across the bottom of the screen, but also hashtag Crossing America and hashtag Expeditions in Education. And please don't forget our friends at the National Park Foundation who allowed us to be here. We can't wait to see what you create. So Ranger Carlos, I'm excited to see what these kids create. You know, as adults, we sometimes know what we're doing, but with kids, if they fail one time, it doesn't bother them. They'll just fail forward and do it again. So I can't wait to share these ideas with you. I know that you and your staff will like those and maybe even implement those here in the future. A lot of our kids that watch kind of want to wear that hat one day. So can you look at that middle camera right there and just give them some advice if they want to be a park ranger?
Well, guys, let me tell you, to become a park ranger is something very, very, very exciting. First thing, my suggestion and advice, uh, be a good student. Always do what you like to do. There are plenty of things you can do to become a park ranger, a park guide in the park. It depends on the park. There are parks that are more emphasizing on the care of the nature. There are others that emphasizes on the care of the historical and cultural part. If you like any kind of science, any kind of studies, go for it. There's plenty of things you can do. For example, I like history. That's what I studied. But even we're in a historical park is also a World Heritage Site. That means that if you are an engineer, an architect, you like to help us cleaning the grounds, you like to help us working with documentation, with historical and museum collections, there are plenty of choices that you can follow once you go and study to find out a career that eventually will help you to become a park ranger. It could be in interpretation like me. It could be in law enforcement. If you like to be a police officer, that's fine. If you like to work in administration, you like computers, you like technology, that's something that I bet you would like to do. So there are plenty of things you can do while trying to become a national park employee. Park ranger only could be in another aspect of the National Park Service world. So my advice, don't become, afraid of things. Just go for it. Dream. Dreams are really good. And that's my advice. Go for it and don't give it up.
I love that. So we heard what Ranger Carlos has said today. We've learned about this place, but there's more to learn about this place. So check out their website. We're running that across the bottom of the screen so you can dig a little bit more into the history. Thank you so much for letting us be here today. This is a beautiful backyard that you have, and I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. I enjoy it too. And thank you, all of you, for being here with us today.
So on behalf of Dr. Drizzle, the National Park Foundation, and our amazing Ranger Carlos, we are out of here. Have a great day.